introduce Upinder, who I have seen grow in tobacco control over the last few years into a very fine professional. And I was associated closely with her mother, and I know that she has a lot of her mother in her and keeps the fire of tobacco control going. Upinder is the director programs Generation Saviors Association, and she's also the elected municipal council founder, Girls Rise for Mohali. The floor is yours, Upinder.
Thank you so much. And yes, it is a huge privilege to be in a session which is being chaired by two people who are very close to the organization and my mother when we started GSA. So thank you so much. And I thank Dr. Gupta and Dr. Sonu for the setup. So we'll be talking about tobacco-free generation. And in my presentation, I would like to focus on the steps that have been taken by our organization in partnership with the union to actually come up and onto the thought process of tobacco-free generation. So the elements of tobacco-free generation, the three broader elements of tobacco-free generation that I would like to focus here on my presentation would be prevention, protection, and cessation. Under the prevention, as it was also said in the opening remarks, that the whole definition of tobacco-free generation is to create an environment where the young people choose not to smoke, chew, or consume tobacco in any form, and also to decide on to a cutoff date beyond which the sale of tobacco to those people who are born after a certain year is not exposed to any form of tobacco. Then comes on to the protection, wherein protecting people from secondhand smoke and hazards of chewing tobacco in public places. As in today's scenario, earlier the entire focus on was on passive smoking, but with the present situation of COVID going on, we see that what menace does the smokeless tobacco also have on the non-users. And third and most important when we talk about tobacco-free generation is cessation, is to help people who are already addicted to tobacco use to quit. Can we go on to the next slide? So the first step that was taken, there have been a lot of talks about tobacco-free generation in the past also, but after the GATS2 study came out and we have seen a good amount of reduction in tobacco use in the country. I think it gets really important to restart our talks about tobacco-free generation, because this is the right platform and the right time to talk about it. So the first national consultation with the partnership of the union was conducted in 2019, July 2019. These are the few glimpses of that. So can we go on to the next one? And then a second round of consultation happened just recently last week on May 22nd, wherein the participants kind of discussed upon why tobacco-free generation has become an important element in fighting public health emergencies, like an emergency that we are facing currently. Next, please. So the recommendations that came out of these consultations, and which we think that all of us working in tobacco control collectively can kind of strengthen more on to move towards a tobacco-free generation. The proposed cutoff date that was proposed in the consultation was 2006, which means aiming at a tobacco-free generation by 2024. Because everybody who's born after 2006 will be 18 years by then, and as per the policy of tobacco free generation and COTPA, they should not be allowed buying of any tobacco products. So one recommendation that came out of these consultations was actually to establish independent working groups at the state and the national levels to formulate a tobacco free generation policy document, so that every initiative that is being taken at the state levels, at the national levels, are in sync with each other, so that once we have the policy and we are working extensively on it, so we have a uniformity of actions happening in the state and at the national level. A third important point was integration of existing laws. So rather than coming up with an exclusively new law, and we have seen in the presentation by Karnataka also how important it is to actually map what existing laws we have that support the tobacco-free generation, and how we can integrate those laws into reaching out to our aim of tobacco-free generation. And then the first step of it, and a very important aspect of the consultation that came up, was to raising the age of purchase of tobacco products to 21 years. There have been studies which shows that, once if the age is raised to 21 years, how many people can we save from tobacco addiction and, a health risk of tobacco, because post this age, there are less chances of youth getting initiated to tobacco use. And the next point, we've seen in the previous presentations also, that how important now it has become to strictly enforce the TAPS ban and the surrogate advertisements. Though the governments have done a very good job on the existing platforms wherein all these TAPS violations were happening, but with a lot of social media and other online mediums coming up and gaining importance, it becomes very important to even include those into our TAPS ban. Then the mandatory license to sell to regulate the supply of tobacco products in the market, and focused tobacco cessation, that is licensed smoker, the people who are already addicted to smoking, should be licensed, so that there is no new smoker coming into the place, so that it becomes easier for us to reach to the tobacco-free generation policy. And the another very important element that came out of the consultation was that every policy intervention should be broadly based on the gender-based and socio-economic factors too. It should not be a blanket policy, but every element of the society out there should be considered while coming out with a policy document. And very important, national policy on FCTC Article 5.3. I think it is the high time that we really need to push for a national level policy on Article 5.3. Next, please. So this actually, this slide was taken from Dr. Rana Jaisingh's presentation in the consultation that happened last week, that how public health emergencies and how tobacco use is related to each other. So I think this chart clearly establishes that linkage of tobacco and the public health outbreaks. Can we go to the next slide? Next slide, please. So COVID-19 and tobacco control interventions that has already taken place in India. So we have ICMR appealing to refrain from consuming smokeless products and spitting in public places, which gives us a very nice evidence of, when we talk about smokeless tobaccos and the nuisance and the menace and the risk that the non-users have of the smokeless tobacco also now. So I think these are good interventions which can be built upon when we talk about tobacco-free generation and, fighting a big problem that our country has of smokeless tobacco. Next. So way forward, so this would be my last slide. So way forward, establishing working groups at national and state levels to formulate a tobacco-free generation policy. I think that is very important when we all start collaborating onto that. And focusing on a bottom-up approach, I think Karnataka is doing an amazing job into coming up with a state roadmap to create how they are going to reach to the tobacco-free generation. And I think other states can also start mapping their existing laws that support the tobacco-free generation. Mapping of existing laws that can support a tobacco-free generation at state levels. And the immediate focus for every state should be raising of age to 21 years and tobacco vendor licensing. And we have seen that states are in a position to amend COTPA. And I think raising to the age of 21 years should be the first step and the most important step presently when we want to take our first leap forward for a tobacco-free generation. Next, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Upinder. That was a wonderful presentation. The theme of World No Tobacco Day this year also gels very well with the name of your organization.